Fantasy, or hours, or even now, actually. The Final Fantasy team are going over seems to be final expansion 414 Endwalker. There's not much that I know. I've only seen a brief little bit as far as potential big spoilers, such as a new location, the moon, new healer class, the Sage. It looks really awesome. It kind of reminds me of the weapon. Kind of reminds me of like floating missiles going around, if that is the weapon, so that's really cool. And there's a lot more other things which I have not looked into myself, because, well, I don't even know everything about the base game or the other expansions. So I want to enjoy those, and then, you know, get excited for Endwalker, which the date for Endwalker they're saying is fall 2021 when it's coming out. And there's also another job that they're releasing. It could be a scythe wielding, maybe necromancer, reaper class. Not sure, but at some point during this stream or the next stream, because I might cut this one in half, Brav and Kylan can tell us, mostly Kylan, because he would know everything about this game. So in honor of that, well, here I am going to stream and continue on with my story, because, well, maybe I can, you know, get excited for Endwalker. For right now, though, let's continue on with the questing. So right now, we are going to meet up with Eric. This is going to be for my next monk quest, which will be super exciting. And then the next quest after that, depending on where I'm heading, is speak with Highbaru at High Bridge. We're going to learn more about Brea and what his deal is with everything. Okay, just checking in on the chat. Let's see who is up there away from keyboard. Oh, so they're playing, so that's pretty cool. Alrighty then. I hate the outfit that I'm wearing. It does not, like my other one, look better, and I'm thinking maybe this quest, as far as what Per Kylan said, is going to give me my monk outfit, so here's hoping. 4-point Fury. Delivers an attack with a potency of 140 to all nearby enemies. Can only be executed in raptor form. Extends Twin Snake's duration by 10 seconds. So I don't know where I would put that, but that'll be fun. So let's see. The Pursuit of Power. Professor Eric would have you do his bidding yet again. You two played me for a fool. The data the simpleton monk brought me was absolutely astounding, groundbreaking, revolutionary. Yet I remained objective in my analysis, as a scholar must. Poring over the data, I finally arrived at the disheartening conclusion. The two of you took measures of the same area. The values were near identical, equivalences mocking me as I struggled to reconcile them. I can neither sleep nor eat lest I waste time not drawing nearer the truth. And for what? Tell me, what is it you two were doing in that field? Oh, what did he tell him? Bah, not this blade chakra nonsense again. How many times must I tell you? It is not but in perceptible ether. Call it what it is. And to think I had a mind to put your names under mine when my hypothesis was published. This life force, this spiritual energy, this God's forsaken eternal soul essence. I care not what primitive nomenclature those backward monks wish to assign it. It is ether, plain and simple. I like how for the monk class, you're dealing with science, so it's science versus faith. That's very, very interesting. They claim they are able to manipulate and amplify it through discipline and the opening of the so-called chakra. False! This is nothing more than the ethereal regulation of organisms, a basic and natural concept, an attempt to explain that which science does not yet fully understand. The monks have erected an institution of control. Their preachings are unassailable by design, for none can disprove the existence of the unknowable. They promise power in return for abjection and servitude, control and power indeed, only that of man. It is the very essence of a religion, and should be treated with contempt, as all religions should. See? Ether resides in all living things, as do natural mechanisms with the capacity to regulate it. This is simply life, not some mystical, supernatural endowment. I concede, of course, that the heightened mental faculties of man allow for the potential to gain conscious control over those mechanisms. Indeed, it would appear that you and the simpleton monk have already achieved that end. This indiscretion and impertinence of youth. I suppose it can be forgiven. Once. In my own youth, I was not the model perfection you see before you. I too have made what some might call mistakes. Not myself, but some. In our talks together, the simpleton monk often spoke of the 7th chakra. Its awakening is thought to be of the highest achievement among the monkhood. I make it a habit to know the tenets of my intellectual enemies. It was the flow of the ether within you two which betrayed your falsehood, the whispering of your chakra, as I'm sure the monks would rush to call it. But serendipity most often visits the industrious. Just so it is precise these ethereal whispers that provide to be most intriguing. The waves of these sounds resonated perfectly with the ether of the battleground. I can see by your vapid expression that you are missing my point. Allow me to spell it out for you. It follows that if one were to visit a battlefield with a certain ethereal wave amplitude and frequency, it would resonate with one's own ether. Never paid attention to him. Okay. This is the phenomenon responsible for the initial opening of your own chakra. I cannot believe I'm being reduced to speaking in these terms. It stands to reason that for any ethereal wave, there may be a location that will resonate with it. Think of the implications, Rajan. Speak of truly exists, then so too must an ultimate battleground to bond with it. The concentration of ether in such a place would be unlike anything ever recorded. I forgive your past treachery. Guide me as it did to this great discovery. And I need you to do more work for me. Here, take this new ether meter. Make for Lark's Call in the East Stroud. My research indicates it is a very promising tract indeed. Set up the ether meter as you have the others in the past, and then kill whatever you must obtain a strong reading. Slaying beasts there will release the ether of the land they are steeped in, and it may then resonate within your own. I suppose in the primitive terms of the monkhood, that would translate to the expansion of your chakra. Oh, and you'll not be crossing paths with that simpleton monk this time. I'll be sending him to take readings at East End. I have no intentions of allowing you two to conspire to impede my research again. If you care to know more about the events that have transpired at Lark's Call, I suggest you pay a visit to your local library. East End, on the other hand, is a fascinating subject of which I never tire speaking. Ask me about it any time if your curiosity ever gets the better of you. Ooh. So the shroud, eh? Oh. An honest inquiry, that sad wonderful moment when ignorant curiosity overcomes pride. Light, then, let us begin. Oh! So you actually learned... Well, I actually wouldn't mind learning about this stuff, so let's learn, shall we? Sildian history. I need hardly mention that Sildian civilization is now centuries dead. Silda was plunged into chaos in the wake of King Lalawefu's demise, or the King of Spring as he was known. Despite the success of his economic reforms, the tax increases he imposed did not sit well with his subjects. This, coupled with a prolonged sequence of untimely droughts, fomented unrest among the people, and in time sparked violent unrest throughout the kingdom. Silda was not alone in its want for water. Oda, too, felt the effects of droughts. So this is talking about the very first area that I went to for the ether meter. The Sultan at this time, Sasagan Sisagan. But perhaps you recognize the Ul name. The current Sultana, Nanamo Namo, represents the second Ul dynasty. She is Sasagan's distant descendant. Now, where was I? Yes. Right so. Sasagan ordered an attack on Silda to claim the water resources discovered as a result of Ladawefu's flood control acts. But the royalty and nobility of Silda will not remain idle. They mobilized their nation in the face of this crisis, and people fought with great tenacity against the Uldan threat. The full strength of both nations met in battle, and the end result was an arduous, protracted conflict. Though arguably more desirable than surrender, the ruling Sildan elite took little pleasure in having succeeded in uniting the therefore querulous citizenry to fight, for despite all they accomplished, every day spent waging war dragged the nation's financial affairs, which you will recall had only just been brought under control, back into the mire. To bring an end to the long military deadlock, Silda devised and set about implementing a perverse yet ambitious strategy. It sought to zombify the deceased among its army, that they might fight again. At first it appeared to have worked, yet at the height of hostilities, the Sildians lost control over their necrotic creations. The undead turned on their masters, and long before the zombification had spread to the majority of the population. Ever knowing an opportunity when they saw one, the Uldans used this to justify their war, now proclaiming it a crusade to send these zombies to Thal. After seeing to the extermination of all zombies outside the city, they were then sealed the gates of Silda, trapping both the living and dead within, kind of like the culling of Stratholme. And that, in brief, is a history of the fall of Silda. I only pray that your feeble mind is able to retain it. What about the study of ether? I shall tell you yet again of the study of ether. As I laboriously explain, ether is not only the source of all magics, but also the fount of all life. Yet despite its ubiquity, it remains imperceptible to the senses of man. When a living thing dies, the ether comprising its life is released. It has been learned that when this discharge takes place, a portion of that ether remains, lingering in the physical world. No doubt you have come across ethereal crystallizations in the course of your travels. Sure have. All scholars now agree that these are the physical manifestations of great concentrations of ether. I have a theory, however, that they are not the only such manifestations. Allow me to give you an example you can understand, or even you can understand. That of ghosts, spirits, disembodied souls. Apparitions of the deceased come back to haunt and generally unnerve us? False. These are nothing more than a luminescent glow of ether in the atmosphere. It is possible, though highly unlikely, that you are asking yourself why a portion of the ether remains. Right, well, the amount of ether that can shift between the physical and ethereal realms in any given instant is the ethereal threshold. Any ether present in excess of that threshold is left behind, so that's what he's gathering. The more violent or dramatic the loss of life, the greater the amount of inner ether released to take the form of crystals, or remain imperceptibly in the atmosphere. And you surely recollect the scene I identified as the most apt to procure such violent deaths on the field of battle. It stands to reason, therefore, that through the ethereal measurement of such sites, I was able to reconstruct details of the wars waged upon them. And that, Raijin, is why this military historian has a deeply vested interest in the subject of ether. Military historian, huh? So he's in battle, but he's more so the science. He's in the science of the fight versus, well, the monks, well, they're in the faith of the fight. Despite all we do know, however, many mysteries remain. The study of ether will no doubt continue to yield fascinating and awe-inspiring discoveries for years to come. Of that, I am certain. Alright, what about blood sugar? This was Limpsa. I believe, because the Fine Sand Banks was, well, actually, I don't know, let's, nope. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Let's study the Bloodshore. Very well. Prepare to learn all you ever cared to, and more of the land known as Bloodshore. Yeah, this is off of the beach. The sanguine nomenclature derives from a truly horrific battle which took place there some 50 years ago. The two greatest pirate fleets of the day, the League of Lost Bastards and the followers of Rykard Mistbeard, met one another at sea just off the coast of the Soul. To this very day, none can say with certainty who shot first, nor why. Mayhap there was no good reason at all. All know the two pirate leaders loathe one another, and when dealing with pirates, little more than that is needed to ignite a war. By the by, it just so happens that the head of the League of Lost Bastards, one Blowfist, was father to the current admiral of Limpsa. It is told the old sea dog wished for his daughter to take command of his fleet upon his death. Oh, yeah, the League, that sounded familiar. But that is a tale for another time. Suffice it to say, a shot was fired, and the mightiest pirate armadas in the realm came to fight one of the bloodiest naval battles in Eotian history. All told, 7 galleys were sunk that day, and dozens of smaller warships. 4 of these 7 galleys went down in mere moments, when at last the smoke cleared and the cannons fell silent. Hundreds lay dead on the ocean bottom. It is said the foam of the tide was tinged red with blood for days after the battle, and bodies washed ashore for weeks to follow. So, as you can see, geography and history are inextricably linked. Regrettably, the region has recently been purchased by a wealthy olden merchant named Gagaruju. He has chosen to turn a blind eye to the land's history and has taken to calling it Costa del Sol. They took a battlefield and made it into a resort. And I believe I will stop there concerning Bloodshore and allow your feeble brain to process all it has heard. Now let's see Fine Sand Banks. So Fine Sand Banks was the last place we went to in Gridania. The Fine Sand Banks have a rich history indeed. They are found on the west shore of the Velodina River, at the foot of a now extinct volcano overlooking the Rothlet Sound. The area is a sedimentary basin formed by the deposit of the fine silts and sands carried by the river. Today it falls within Gridania territory, but in days past it belonged to my own home nation, Almigo. Interesting. So Widgardfeld is part of the resistance of Almigo. I wonder if secretly Eric is part of the resistance too. He could be playing a fool. Could be playing me a fool all along. Who knows? Interesting, because he's part of Almigo. That's cool. A century ago, King Manfred came to power in Almigo and decided to expand the nation's territory in order to promote economic growth. To that end, he ordered the Almigian army to undertake large-scale campaigns that would eventually lead to the onset of the Autumn War. Naturally, such action was met with vehement opposition from the other nations. Gridania, fearing encroachment along its border with Almigo, placed the renowned lancer Venkelian in command of its standing armies, and war began. His opponent was Grilbard, the great general of Almigo, a fervent believer in the fist of Raglar, the Fist of Ra. Let's say the Fist of Ra right now. Kylan's told me the name of it, but I forgot how you pronounce that. And a man who enjoyed enormous popularity among the Almigian people. The two leaders were loved by their troops, and, at the outbreak of war, morale on both sides was very high. The armies clashed time and again all along the border, neither general yielding an ill, but in a galling twist of fate for Gridania, Venkelian suddenly took deathly ill. and no victor emerged following the Battle of Fine Sand Banks. Van Kylan devised a new strategy. He ordered his forces to retreat to Camp 9 Ives, fully intending for Gilbard to give chase. This would lure the Almegians to terrain more favorable and familiar to the Gridanians. He died, however, before he was able to see his plan executed. Now the man who would replace him, Osborne, was extremely ambitious and eager to prove his worth to the Seed Seers. Having neither the mind nor patience for Van Kylan's defensive war, however, he ordered a frontal assault on the Almegian position. When Gilbard learned of this plan, if plan it may be called, he secretly deployed troops to the most vital points along the Fine Sand Banks. The Gridanian forces had scarcely entered the area before they began to suffer heavy losses from highly coordinated Almegian ambushes. In response, Osborne ordered a forced march, permitting his troops no rest for several days as he attempted to surge through the region. Eventually exhausted, the Gridanians came to entrench themselves on a hill. But this is precisely what Gilbard had wanted. He surrounded the hill to explore any hope of retrieving water, and then proceeded to rain down barrage after barrage of arrows upon the encampment. Let's see. There we go. In this seemingly hopeless position, the morale of the Gridanians quickly dwindled. Following the two failed attempts to break free, Osborne himself led the van in the third and final charge. In the end, Gridania was defeated. Osborne and several of his officers were captured, and the legendary staff, Claustrum, lent him by one of the Seed Seekers, was taken. This abject defeat accounted for what little morale remained among his surviving troops, and they beat a desperate retreat to 5 Hangs with the relentless Almegians harrying in their every step of the way. Gilbard's victory brought him ever great accolades from his country, and as a result, both he and the Fist of Rhaegar came to wield considerable political power. And that is a brief history of the Fine Sand Banks. No, you needn't thank me. Knowing there is a little less ignorance in the world is all the reward I require. And now let's learn the history of East End. History of battles in part 1. Making myself notes here. East End. East End is just that, the eastern end of the Black Shroud. The Autumn War marked the beginning of hostilities between Almego and Gridania. The first major victory in that war came at the first battle of Tinochla, and it belonged to Almego. Defeated, the Gridanians retreated to the safety of 5 Hangs. The front was splintered, and afterwards they would resort to opportunistic ambushes and the constant redeployment of troops to continue their resistance. The Almegians, confident of ultimate victory, enjoined Gridania to surrender. As conditions, they demanded that all of the east and portions of the central shroud be relinquished, and perhaps more disturbingly, that Seed Seers be taken as wards of Almego, where they would be met with no harm. Interesting. Needless to say, Gridania refused. Providence was to be delivered to the force borne by the neighboring nation of Ishgard. Wary of Almego's ambitions for the region, the sea appealed to Limsa and Ulda for aid. The three joined Gridania in her declaration of war against Almego, and sent troops to reinforce the front. But this war was far from a gesture of charity. It is easy to see what the motives of the sea were. Should certain sections of the Black Shroud be annexed to Almego, Ishgard's southern and eastern borders would become extremely vulnerable to a possible invasion. For their part, Limsa and Ulda had virtually nothing to lose by entering into the war, and yet everything to gain by curbing the power of Almego in the realm. Even more, victory would place Gridania in their debt. And so, Widgar is part of a resistance against this, or... Well, I think, because it would seem like he would be a good guy. So resistance, I guess, against trying to gain power. For Almego to gain power. Because there's a reason why these guys left. And so it came to pass that these 4 great nations joined into a grand alliance to combat the advance of Almego. The fight which was to follow would be later named the Second Battle of Tinochla. The heaviest and most devastating combat took place on a tract of land called East End. In the beginning, there were several small-scale skirmishes, but the Allies' power succeeded in foiling the stratagems of Almigo at every turn. Feeling the tide begin to turn against them, Almigo dispatched its pikemen, known far and wide for their effectiveness against mounted units, such as the Knights of Ishgard. To rally the troops even more, King Manfred himself took to the field to lead them. At first, it seemed as though Almigo had succeeded in reversing his fortune, as the Allies began a slow retreat towards East End. So to be sure, it's Gridania, Olda, Limsa, and Ishgard up against Almigo. This was a clever ploy, however, designed to lure the pikemen into the dense growth of the forest, where their long pole arms would be unwieldy and near useless. It was during these days that the archers of Gridania would prove their value beyond the bow, singing songs of heroism and glory in the field to bolster allied troops. The bards are there. It is said that this gave birth to the bard tradition. Go figure. The archers of Gridania excelled at combat in the dense vegetation of the Black Shroud, and their arrows inflicted heavy casualties on the Almigians. In the end, General Gilbard was slain, King Manfred severely wounded, and Almigo completely and utterly defeated. And that is a brief summation of the history of East End, site of the end of the forest, and the end of the war both. Do you know? I can almost feel you getting less stupid, Rigel. He always likes to talk. Let's see. Alright. So let's see where this is at. Mordona, the Black Shroud. Okay, Hawthorne Hut. Shadow of Darkness. Oh. Camp Drybone. Also, Eastern Thanland. So that is here, where Queergale, same location. He decided that this one here should not prevent you. And then the East Shroud. So, of course, that is in Gridania area. Okay. So, and then going for gold, that's in a completely different area. Okay, so we're going to do Shadow of Darkness. According to Commander Swift, a brass blade stationed at Highbridge has reported seeing a suspicious masked man, but the sentry has since died in the line of duty. Even so, you may still be able to learn something of use from the people in the area. Take yourself to Highbridge in Eastern Thanalan, speak with a merchant named Hihabaru. And let's do just that. That fanciful horse. I don't... Well, I could still burn it out, because, I mean, it helps heal me. Sorry, Virgil helps heal me. He's not an it. He is Virgil. see, Helmhart, what sort of things did you have for me? Nothing right now. Okay. Welcome to Highbridge, adventurer. Whatever you seek, Highbaru, can provide it. Probably. You're after a masked man? I'm not sure I have one of those in stock. Oh, you're after a masked man? Why didn't you say so sooner? Such an individual might have featured in one of the many rumors I've heard. If you linger a while, mayhap you'll learn a thing or two, eh? Right. Highbaru wants to help you find Labria. Maybe. When the Order of Nodthal began excavating the ruins below, I had hopes that Highbridge would turn into a bustling hub for pilgrims, but thanks to the nigh-endless Beastman raids... I had hopes Highbridge... Oh, okay. Beastman raids. Folks are too afraid to come within a mile of here. I sold everything I owned to get my venture started, and I loathe to give up without making an earnest effort to stick it out. But if things keep going as they are, I'll be bankrupt before the moon is through. Whining won't do me any good, though. None for my business. No, for my business to survive, I need business. Speaking of which, perhaps you'd like to browse my wares. Spend a bit of coin to help a struggling merchant. The masked man? Bah, Thal, take your bloody masked man. I know what I said before, but vague rumors are all I've got. If you want to know about them, go and ask some of the other merchants. Alright, he's trying to keep his business going. Oh, and currently the pet that is questing me for this evening is the Otter. He'll be fun. So it's not even worth it. Even for the gill, it's still not worth it. I have heard tell of the masked devil. Seems he's been appearing not only around Highbridge, but elsewhere about Thanalan too. Enough folk have reported seeing him to convince me he's more than a figment of the imagination, but little is known about him otherwise. Alright. Go-Go Shoe. Oh, yes, Go-Go Shoe. We won't worry about Go-Go Shoe. On the trail of a masked man? Aye, I've heard of him, but only in hushed tones and faint whispers. It's said he wears a black hooded robe and looks right suspicious, and that's about all I can say, little though it is. Have I seen a masked man wearing a dark robe? No, I haven't, nor do I wish to. Business is bad enough without shady characters lurking about. Folks have been giving Highbridge a wide berth because all his Queequern raids. None but most devout pilgrims are willing to come here anymore. Judging by your expression, I take it you didn't learn much of use. Look, I'm sorry for my rudeness earlier. It's just that things are tough for us merchants at the moment. The Queequern raids are so constant, so organized, we're beginning to suspect that someone is orchestrating it all. I tend to put my own welfare first, like most of us do. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I promise to keep an eye out for your masked man. If I see or hear anything, you'll be the first to know. Where there is smoke, Highbaru has information that will surely lead you to Labria. I finally got some good, honest-to-God's information on your masked man. Why so confident? Because I saw him with my own 2 eyes. I was out for an evening stroll, minding my own business, when I noticed a column of smoke rising from a cliff over at Thal's Respite. Curious, I took myself there to find a masked man. Your masked man. I'm sure of it, standing by a fire. As if in answer, some Queequorn appeared soon after, and the group began talking at length. I'm afraid I was too far out of earshot to hear much of anything. After the group is dispersed, an idea came to me. If you were to use this smoldering coal to start a fire, you might be able to arrange a similar meeting. It will be dangerous, I should doubt, but you've proven yourself more than a match for a pack of rats. So what do you think? That's some sound, reliable information, even if I do say so myself. Well worth all the lingering about you've been doing, wouldn't you say? Sure. Sure thing. Yes, all this lingering about. Alright. There is a fate going on, so let's see about that. Because I would like to also level up my Chocobo. Let's see what this fate has in store. A module Lancers from the east. Oh no. Alright, Virgil. Let's go kick some butt. This is actually doing something. Oh no, so I need to protect them, okay. What's up thinking? No, well, oh well, I can get some XP for it, for myself and for Virgil, fortunately. They failed, but it's okay. Because I got some XP for Virgil, which, speaking of Virgil, has he, because he hasn't really leveled up any, okay. Well, that's no problem. Oh, excusez-moi. Where there's smoke. Carbonized wood that when placed on wet wood or leaves will create building towers smoke. Alright. Sense a hostile presence. Foot soldier. They have the fist of flame. Alright, now these are times where it's nice to have a choke play. Because I could have teleported, but I think it would have been about the same distance, or it would seem like it'd be about the same distance. Let's see what the team is up to. Oh, so they're kind of just doing their own thing. Koopa Koopa. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Hello, Soft Butch. Wasn't trying to look at you there, buddy. Not sneezing. Yeah. Excuse me. Back so soon? Were you able to find any? To the patron deity of Almigo. Well, I don't know. As well, somebody might be thinking of that. Ward of the Destroyer. Paper ward inscribed with a prayer to the patron deity of Almigo. Ryglar. This scroll, it bears a prayer to Ryglar the Destroyer. In case you're unfamiliar, Ryglar is a guardian deity of Almigo, which is currently under Garland rule. It's highly uncommon for folk of other nations to revere him. I read in my last guild that your assailant was Almigian. It seems this masked man of yours is very well connected. I must confess, the merchant in me envies such a diverse network of contacts. That self-same merchant also senses danger ahead, and darkness besides. Are you certain you'd rather not take things nice and slow here at Highbridge? And funny enough, I believe that Ryglar character, that god or deity, is the one that I created that my character was born through, or born of, the one that I guess he would worship. And I picked him not necessarily because of the Destroyer part, which that sucks, because it's like, oh, you worship, an evil man or evil deity or whatever, which I guess I'll have to, look up. But the reason is because the inspiration behind my character, I'm actually going to look him up, because why not, is for the inspiration for my monk, which was Jin Kazama, Devil Gene, that's in him. Let's see. Yep. My character does he's tied to the 8th month. Okay, so he's just tied to the 8th month, so let's put that there. Commands the element of lightning, striking meteor. Now, fallen nation of Almigo. The mark of Ryglar is located. Okay. Is named for the Destroyer. It's a terrible poison. Okay. So the 12. Oh, so they're part of the... Okay. One of the 6 elements and each associated with the month of the Aortian calendar. It's constellations of the night sky. So I'm looking through the different gods that you could put together for your guys. And the master, the watcher, celestial bodies, and goddess of fate commands the element of water. White sister, and the master of regular. Oh, she was an navigator. Okay. Command the element of lightning. The sun. Can be learned by oldest ones, okay? And the guardian deity of the now fallen nation of me. So my character is connected to Almego. Role-playing was in more ways than one. Okay. Not though. Only member of 12 have 2 stone symbols. Not though in there. It's version 2.0. Temple to Thal. Oh, okay, Nod and Thal. Okay, pretty interesting about the different gods. Align with one of the 12 deities. Originally, this by aligning to the gods, it raised elemental resistances, but then it has no effect in game. So the only thing it would be stone with Memphis in Legacy Final Fantasy 14. Legacy Final Fantasy 14. What is that? So then, overall, for that brief little look into the 12 and their plans, if I was necessarily role-playing my character, then it might make more sense and I could tie that in. But I mean, again, the Destroyer, I know, seeing bad. Who knows what I could say about that if I do decide to ever roleplay as Raijin Kazir. But in any case, let's continue on with this venture. That's just an interesting little stuff about the different gods, 12, and what they would mean. So on to Little Almego. Cool. So, Habaru has a suggestion to help you on your investigation. The Almegian bandit you had a run-in with is somehow connected to your masked man of mystery. So it stands to reason that if you want to pick up the trail again, you should head towards Little Almego over in southern Thanalan. Just so you know what to expect, the settlement is the favored destination for those refugees who couldn't, well, adapt to the life in Ul'dah. The hearts of the denizens are said to be as barren as the wasteland they live in, and for all intents and purposes, it's a lawless place. Be prepared for a not-so-warm welcome. And I'm not certain how much a help she will be, but it just so happens I have a daughter who has relocated to Little Almego. Her name is Hahira, and it shouldn't hurt to seek her out first. And while you have her attention, I'd be obliged if you could send my love. Not a day goes by that I don't think of her. Well, I suppose this is it then. I have hoped that you would linger here a while, cull some fiend, spend some coin, what have you, but something tells me you're destined for greater things. Whatever it is you end up, I wish you the best. Headstrong besides, I'm long to giving up on her having her obey me. It's enough to know she's alive and well. I will meet her there in southern Thanalan in Little Almigo. But yeah, inspiration for my character, Jin Kazama, because originally was a Lancer, but then I liked being a dragon person, and that's the Aura. That's, you know, they are dragon people, and hopefully get to learn more about them a little bit in the Heaven's Ward expansion. But I just like the character, and who knows too as well, like if I will set that up, if you know, if I want to theoretically roleplay my character, or hell, even with my name, be like, I'm not liking this name, or I'm not feeling it, then I can change that. But right now, I like Raijin the way he is, even with, you know, the Dark Knight class, as it were. It wouldn't fit with the Fire Jin Kazama stuff, but you know, it'll do just nicely. But let's see, Little Almigo. Oh, hold on, because technically I can go around. Let me... Alright, so we'll see. We'll join them here in just a minute. Oh, I've passed by you, Hahira. Why, yes. Hahabaru's my father. He said what? I wish I could be a better daughter to him. It's just that... Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't bother you with my family matters, but I'm grateful to you for delivering the message. Now then, what brings you here? A masked man? I'm afraid the description doesn't ring any bells, but one of the others here may have seen something. I would recommend you first speak with Gundabald, the leader of the settlement. I must warn you, though, he isn't exactly accommodating to outsiders. Where is Gung-Ho over here? Oh, this man. Cinny buns, that's funny. Gundabald. Who are you? State your business and be quick about it. Looking for a masked villain, you say? And why should we help you, pray? We struggle enough without having to answer the whim of every outsider. You are not welcome here. Begone. Oh. Alright. So Byrd, Flame Commander. Oh, okay. Experience. Byrd would like you to aid in your manhunt. T for 3. Well met, adventurer. I'm Byrd, head of security here at Little Almigo. I heard tell that you had business with Gundabald. Knowing the bristly old bear, I don't doubt he told you to bugger off. Owing to their hardships, the refugees don't trust anyone but themselves. Not even my men and I can get so much as a word of thanks out of them despite watching the place day and night. But thanks or no, I try to help my fellow man where I can, and you seem a decent sort. If you tell me what's brought you here, might be as I can lend a hand. On a trail of a masked villain, you say? Can't say that sounds familiar, but I have men on lookout for a Malja to the south of here. If there's been any suspicious activity, they're like to have seen it. I had a mind to take them each a cup of sweet Thanalan tea so as to lift their spirits. If you were to run this little errand in my stead, they'd all be more willing to tell you what they know. Tea for 3. Who the hells are you? I'm trying to conserve energy here, so leave me alone. Piping hot infusion of freshly picked young Thanalan tea leaves mixed with a rich aldegoat cream and a generous spoonful of golden cactuar flower honey. Well, ain't you considerate? My thanks, friend. What's that? A masked villain? Hiding among the refugees? Like as not. Me compatriots has lived here go about as though they're dead on their feet. 'Tis near impossible to tell what's on their minds. For all I know, they're all up to no good. Okay. Angry River. Flame Pirate. Private. You there. Are you in the Malja? No. Then carry on then. Ah, this sophisticated aroma. It's been forever since I had a drop of that sweet Thanalan. I'm going to enjoy this. What? A masked man? Don't know, don't care. Unless he's got dark, scaly skin, stands 10 firms tall, and has the face of a lizard, then don't give a murmur's fart. Kinda sounds like... Oh, Malja. But that kinda sounds like my people. You son of a gun. Shoo, don't bother me. If the Malja have run us, I'm blaming you. For me? You shouldn't have. Sorry, a suspicious masked man? As a matter of fact, I caught a glimpse of someone fitting that description during patrol. Well, I couldn't quite make out whether it was a man or not, with the mask and the robe. But assuming it was a he was talking with some Omegians. I'm assuming he was one of them. Uh-oh. Oh, that actually works. Okay. We will do this. Oh, I have brought in a lot of people. Oh, boy. Damn. No, Virgil. Virgil. No. No, Virgil. Don't do it. Wait, I gotta return all the way over there? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's dumb. That's very dumb. Okay. Can I make a temporary, like, crystal run? Can I make a temporary home? Okay. Well then, let's join up on them and see see what they are up to. Hello.
Hey, Justin.
Howdy.
Are you streaming?
I is, yes.
Hi. What are you chatting?
Yeah.
that's what they're called. That's what it is.
Yep. The chat I know is called the Bird's Nest, but as far as like what the chat people are called, no earthly idea.
Hey, nest dwellers.
Sure.
Nesters.
Nesters.
Nesties. Come to a poll, chat, and tell us what you would like to be called. I can't dictate what you want to be called.
Yep,
But it's gotta be bird themed.
It does gotta be bird themed.
You want to be eggies?
Oh, that doesn't
Eggs
sound
are
great.
delicious.
Eggs are delicious.
Doesn't, but hey, you know.
Hey, question. So, when I'm out in the field and I die, I don't want to teleport all the way home. Is there any way I can, like, set a closer destination?
You can go to a nearby town that you'll be questing or, doing your story stuff in. And set your home point at the Aetherite.
Okay.
But the alternative is that you can just ask for rides.
So, what you're telling me is no.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, but I can, if you need help, or if you need to be resurrected, I can resurrect you.
Oh.
Justin, let me go take out the dog.
Okay. See, that's 40. Oh, hey, oh, well, failure. Yeah, because it didn't come back quick enough, but that's okay. Okay, but it's up by 1, so that ain't bad. Ah, you're back. So did my lookouts have alt to share with you? Doesn't sound like much to go by.
I'm back. Dawson took him out.
Oh, well, that's good. Welcome back. If you're to get any further in your investigation, seems to me you'll need the cooperation of the Almegians. For this, you'll need to win their trust. That won't be an easy task. Give me the silver piece. Foot in the door. That's what quest I am on. Giselbert would offer you some advice regarding your investigation. So you've determined to press on with your investigation? Then I have some advice to offer. As I said before, you won't get far without the Almegians' trust, and the best way to win that trust is to get a compatriot of theirs, someone they respect, to vouch for you. Coin does the talking in Ulda, but the Almegians are bound by something far stronger, if not as tangible, a common purpose. That purpose is, of course, the liberation of their home from the Garleans. Gundobald belongs to Almegian resistance. Oh, that's convenient. So your best bet would be someone who's part of the same crew. If you know any well-connected people, you might want to start by asking them, "Where's Woodgar? I know him." Oh, we have a new player to the voice chat. Hello, Dawson. How's it going? You are live on stream. I mean, we've said probably a little bit of that, but I would be advised not to play any music, unfortunately, because that would probably get overheard and copyrighted. Okay. Let's see, inventory chest. Let's go to Best Brevet. Let's talk to Minfilia. So how was the stream, Kylan? Okay, great. Oh, okay, now I hear him from the voice.
I was muted. Oh my god, so great. That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Freaking, did you watch any of it at all?
No, nope.
Oh my god,
I mean, I still need to experience all this other stuff. I can't get excited about new stuff when I don't even know.
You know what?
This.
That is true, and there would have been some spoiler stuff for you.
Oh, well, you see, there you go.
But, like,
I figured you could give me the basics.
It would be vague. Yeah, it'd be very vague stuff. So, good news and bad news. Good news, we are getting another healer. Like it was called.
The Sage.
Bad news is we're not getting... Yes, the Sage. Bad news is that we're not getting another caster DPS. It's gonna be another fucking melee DPS.
Right, the Reaper maybe?
So... maybe. That's my theory that I was telling Brad that I kind of have, but... The only issue with that theory is that I don't know if it would be classified as Reaper, mainly because Botanist already has a shit ton of titles that you can earn called Reaper of blank. Reaper of the Forest, Reaper of the Mountains, Reaper of the Desert, landscape here.
Okay.
So I'm like, maybe it's not Reaper, because Yoshi P has canonically been like, looked into his wardrobe and stuff. He's like, he's wearing the shirt and this is something that alludes to something else, blah 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 blah, because the only example I can give you that I remember is that before Dark Knight was Dark Knight or became a thing in Heavensward, he was in one of the live letters wearing a Batman shirt.
Oh, Dark Knight.
Which is the Dark Knight, yeah. And so everybody overanalyzes his shirts and wardrobe and stuff, which was actually in a interview prior to this where people were like, oh, we also want to know what shirts are you going to be wearing and everything. He's like, well, I still didn't really think people had that much of an interest in my wardrobe and everything, but I guess now I'll think about it and plan it more, concisely or something like that. Yeah. So then, I don't really know what the no comment thing, was whenever he first wore it, because he wore, like, this long sleeve shirt that had, like, somebody on it and, like, a big old red bar with white letters inside, saying no comment. And everything, so I'm like, I wonder what that's supposed to be. Yeah. So then they show off, Sage, which looks so cool.
The picture of it that I saw was posted, or that you posted, is pretty neat. It reminds me, like, their weapon or whatever, like the floating things that are around them, reminds me of something from Zone of the Enders. Which is,
I don't know what that is,
a Kojima Konami game about mechs. If you were to see, like, I'll show you a picture and you'll be able to understand a little better. But yeah, it looked cool.
I'm just really excited for it because it looks very flashy. I also just really like how it's another, like, magical weapon type that floats. So, like, obviously the Astrologians have their Astrolabe or Astroglobe that floats in their hand. And stuff, but ultimately it's still like a tool type thing that, is technically like manipulated by them, with like their hands and stuff like that, but this is like the weapons are just floating around you, and stuff, so it just looks super cool. The other neat part about this is that they said that this healer is specifically a barrier healer.
Okay, I saw that in the free company chat. Yep.
Yeah, and so the neat part about it is that they are essentially going out of their way to show the actual like difference in that. So White Mage, of course, will retain his role as being a like full-on healer, like just heal, do lots of really good heals. And then Scholar, which was already a barrier healer, because when they said them, like, I thought we already had Scholar for that. And they're like, yes, we do have Scholar, but we're gonna basically kind of like reinforce Scholar to be even more like barrier healer kind of thing. And they're gonna redo Astrologian to be more akin to like a full direct healer kind of thing. So I'm like, it seems, but I still really hope that they keep the card system, or like whatever changes they do with it, that they still give Astrologian its niche, because Astrologian was kind of like the druid of the healers between the three, because it was literally like the bridge between direct healing with like whatever hot, and then barriers, because you can go into Diurnal Sect, which was like your stance as a Astrologian, where your certain spells were aspected to the sun, and it would give a heal over time effect. And then the Nocturnal Sect was the one that the same certain spells would instead give a barrier based off of the potency of the heal. Okay. And stuff. And then at level 80, they ended up unlocking, I forget the name of it, but basically it's a temporary sect that you can go into that basically lets you benefit from both. So you can apply both a hot and a shield at the same time. How do I dive?
Well, that does sound pretty cool.
Okay. So yeah, that was really neat. Sage just looks fucking awesome. I really love the floaty weapons. I can't wait to see what more the class has to offer. Because even Brav was very excited about it too, so I guess once again, I was like, when we were watching it together and talking about it, I'm like, White Mage who? Like,
oh gosh.
I'm like, I was so enamored with it, because I love just like that, the floaty, like magical things, like kind of control it with your mind or control it with like hand gesture kind of things.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. And, I said White Mage who, mainly in jest. I can't really just flat out forsake White Mage, mainly because White Mage has Holy, and they still have a lot of the, like, nature-based stuff, and of course, they are the white magic users, so, or like holy magic and stuff, so gotta keep with that, appearance for myself.
Sure.
But, so that was the main thing. So, things that are also neat that I can kind of tell you that isn't, like, related to the story or anything like that.
Okay.
So that what was nice, this is sort of story-ish. So what they said is that this expansion is basically the end of this 10-year story of what they called the Zodiac and Hydaelyn storyline or saga, and everything. So it's an end to this like overall story.
Yeah.
So, and they were talking about, so in Shadowbringers, they ended up ending like the actual like story for Shadowbringers in 5.3, which is basically halfway through the expansion.
Okay.
Which you'll see what they mean by that. So they ended it, or wrapped it up in its conclusion for the expansion in 5.3, and we basically were getting like the setup, and then we'll get more of the setup into 5.5, which the CEO of Square Enix popped in towards the end, and then accidentally like dropped the ball and told or like spoiled when 5.5 was going to be released.
Oh, well.
And
okay.
it was truly an accident, because basically I say accident, and Rob brought up a good point, and it was funny. He's like, I don't understand why they act like it's such a surprise, or like why they do these theatrics whenever you know damn well they have it all scripted.
Oh, for sure.
You know, that it was all planned. I'm just like, I don't know, I like it. I can appreciate it. But anyway, so the CEO of Square Enix shows up mainly to promote the PS5 version of Final Fantasy XIV is going to come out this year.
Oh, cool.
The open beta for it is going to be April 13th. So they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be a week after, or like within the same week that 5.5 launches. Or it'll go hand in hand with the 5.5 launch. And then they're like, oh, we haven't actually talked about that, because the thing about tonight, so in about an hour or so, like about an hour or so, they're gonna do the letter from the producer live, which is what they'll fully devote to talking about 5.5.
Okay.
And everything. So, they're gonna talk about like the upcoming patch and everything, with that one, in greater detail and length and stuff. What he accidentally, said that or whatever. Okay. We're going to the moon, as it was mentioned in the, chats and stuff like that. It was like, the moon, so like that. They didn't say, though, like, what or how or what the implication was.
Right.
Whatever. It's like, obviously, you gotta find out on the story. And then, what I think is really, really cool is that in this expansion, we'll be going to Garlemald, finally.
Oh!
And we will also be going to another area that has a lot of influence in the game, but we've just never been there or gone there or anything like that. But we're going to a place, I don't know if they mentioned it to you in the story yet, but we're going to a area called Thavnir.
Don't know about that one.
Specifically, so then you'll see it eventually, because like Ventilia and then talk about it. Because they're like Thavnir, and specifically the city of Radzettan, which is what they showed off. They are also like a very scholarly city, like the Charlotte.
Okay.
And everything, or like the people of Charlotte. So we're gonna go there. It looks super pretty, very vibrant, very colorful, and it's like definitely got like a Indian, like Indian,
okay,
like vibe to it. There's gonna be new Beast Tribe class. They only showed one of the Beast Tribe races, which are the Matanga, which are basically the elephant people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's really neat because they said Matanga, I'm like, oh my god, it's the elephants, and they didn't even show like what they look like yet. And Rob's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's the elephant people, and it's literally one section in Stormblood that you see elephant people like just kind of walking around as like a killable mob, and everything, that like a hostile mob, and they're the Matanga. And everything. They don't talk, there's no other NPCs, nothing like that, and then I guess we're gonna see more of them, or I guess there's a more, peaceful or sentient version of them in Thavnir, and stuff. So there's other places we are gonna go to, but they didn't show, because they're like, that's, for a later time, we can't show you, blah, blah, blah. They are gonna do a major stat squish, which is, kind of saw coming, kind of thing, because they're like, yeah, like, right now the numbers are getting kind of high, to put it lightly, for all the stuff. They're like, so right now in Shadowbringers, the highest HP pool enemy has 440 million health.
Good gosh.
And they're like, yeah, so we're gonna have to track it down, that way it prevents like bugs and too much like info that gets popped up on the screen, too lengthy. The numbers, the flying test.
For sure.
Like, okay, makes sense. Whatever. So that's what's gonna happen. Other thing that is a plan for happening is they are gonna get rid of belts.
Oh.
So belts will no longer be a
item
armor thing or item. But that will be in 6.0. So like when 6.0 actually starts,
no more belts.
What'll happen is that any belts that are in your inventory or equipped, they'll be automatically unequipped and they'll go to the Calamity Salvager. So I guess if you really want it just to have it as like a memorabilia type thing, you can get one from them, but it won't be equipable at all. So they're basically going to get rid of that slot altogether. And I'm just like, me and Brown were like, yeah, it's about time. And then he was like, they only did that just so they could squeeze in more slots for other things in the armory. I'm like, yeah, but like, that's a good thing. And he's like, oh no, yeah, it is, but I'm just saying. I'm like, yeah, and then of course, like right after we said that, they're like, we're reallocating this to more armor space. So basically, and it makes sense because literally every other piece of gear is visible except for the belts.
Right.
You can see rings, you can see bracelets, you can see necklace.
You can see earrings.
Earrings, not belts.
Right.
For whatever reason. So they're like, it's not visible, or so they were like explaining, like, why are we doing this? It's like, belts are not visible at all. They haven't been visible since the beginning. And even with the loss of the stats that you would get from the belt, what we can put into, or, you know, we can supplicate into the other armor, and it makes it very negligible that you miss out on that, piece.
Okay.
Obviously saw it coming. Level cap is going to go from 80 to 90. And he's like, oh, we're almost to 100. Like that. And, you know, we're almost there kind of thing.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I guess people have been, like, spreading rumors or, like, are afraid because of the whole thing with Endwalker, with them saying that it's the end of this story arc. That Yoshi, they're like, is this the end of Final Fantasy? Or, like, at the end of this, are y'all closing down the servers? Or what? And so he's just like, rest assured, this isn't the end. We have plenty more planned for the future. This is just the end of this particular story cycle, or like this story that's been going on for 10 years. And then another rumor was just like, we're afraid that Yoshi P is gonna, like, this is just set up for Yoshi P leaving the project altogether. And he's like, no, I don't plan on leaving the project at all. Like, at this point, like, my Final Fantasy is my lifeblood, and I have no plans. CEO or president tells me to leave, but
Right.
You know, he's like, I don't plan on going anywhere. And
Okay.
so I'm like, oh, okay, that's neat. So he's here forever.
Forever and ever and ever.
Forever and ever and ever.
Forever.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Apparently well, it's not something you would know at the moment, so I won't mention it. What's neat is that they are going to add something new to the Gold Saucer, but they didn't say what. But he's like, yeah, we want to add something that's basically as big as an edition as Mahjong and Verminion, or Lords of Verminion, and whatever other things that they added after the initial release of the Gold Saucer, and everything. And he's like, so what do people want? And then so he's like looking at the chat feed, and people are like, Blitzball.
Oh my gosh.
People literally are like Fall Guys for 14, and then snowboarding or something like that. He's like, well, we can't tell you right now, but, you know, please look forward to it, because it's, you know, his little catchphrase.
Yeah.
Please look forward to it, please look forward to it. So we're gonna get something cool. everybody has been asking for Blitzball and like begging for it or whatever, but
yeah,
like
that makes sense.
We'll see. But they did say it was going to be something multiplayer-esque, so you know, who knows?
It'd be cool to find out what that is.
It's speculated. I didn't really get to hear what they were saying, so at some point, after I probably do this series of little quests, I'm gonna go back and try and find it before the live letter. But they showed they just showed a concept art for it, and it looked adorable as fuck. But it was called like what was it called? Something Island, but basically, in a nutshell, from what it sounds like, is that it's like Farmville / Animal Crossing, but in 14.
Oh wow.
Milo, what are you chewing on?
Good old Farmville.
You know what Kylan's gonna be doing?
Pretty much.
Where did you get this? Get off. No, this is trash. No trash.
No trash.
Don't chew on that.
No trash.
But yeah, or like some people were saying like Stardew Valley. But I mean, they were talking about it like it's gonna be a little like plot of land or something that you get to like cultivate and, you know, flourish and thrive. But like the concept art was like a lady Mikote, like farmer looking girl, and she has like a backpack basket full of vegetables with a little paisa holding a little persimmon on top of its head, a bunch of the minions. So they have like the mage general, the little kitten, the bomboko, the otter, a baby chocobo, all the very main notable minions. And then she's like walking towards like a farmstead because you can see like a scarecrow, and then there's like a fence area too that has a rideable or like an adult-sized chocobo and a horse standing next to each other, looking at her, and so it just screams like farm sim kind of thing.
Okay.
Or whatever, but it kind of begs to like the question of like, is this like some form of like player instance housing in a sense, or like it's a player instance thing that if it is, hopefully you can invite people into it, that way they can, you know, you can see each other's like stuff or how they're doing it or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that they already have player housing.
Right.
To where, I mean, you have your own house that is only the instance of the neighborhood.
I don't know, it was a quick little bit.
Yeah. Instance, but not the house. So
I'm doing fates while listening to Kylan.
I'm doing my work class. Talking about the cool stuff we watched. They didn't like show it, but like they used the pictures for some of like the slide changes or whatever. But they showed some of the concept art for what I'm assuming is the level 90 like job gear, and it looks fucking good. Oh, speaking of that, apparently the like poster child for this expansion is a paladin.
Is a paladin.
It is paladin.
Oh, it's paladin. Okay, I don't understand what that means.
So each expansion, the Warrior of Light like character.
Like it's a showcase.
Like, a showcase job. So like in A Realm Reborn, sure, it was like all of them because it was a group of Warrior of Light. So like the main guy was a warrior, and then in Heaven's Horde it was Dragoon. Stormblood it was monk / samurai, and then in Shadowbringers it was Dark Knight. So now in Endwalker it's paladin. Once again, not a caster of any kind, which is lame, but whatever.
I'll be honest, I think Endwalker is a dumb name.
I like it.
I like it too. Because it is the end.
End of what?
It's the end of the 10 years.
Well, I can't say, I can't tell you why, because it's
Story.
spoilerish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Hydaelyn and something else with a Z. Because that's all, I mean, I know that for the name, and I don't know what the Z is. I'm assuming it's the opposite of Hydaelyn. What I could, just piece together based on it's the end of blah blah, and that's all because of the chat. Our free company chat was saying that. But nothing else. So I mean, yeah, I mean, sure, it makes sense. You've done a game for 10 plus years, and I guess at some point you've been building up towards the end. I mean, hell, Marvel Studios did that for 10 years, so why can't 14?
Well, I'm just kind of happy about it because it shows that there is gonna be more, and it's not, what do we do to rehash the exact same stuff, but make it slightly different,
Right.
So, I do like that it's an actual, continuous story that will have an end, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, and that's also what they mentioned, is that within 6.0, it will end this story, and then also set up the next. So we'll actually... But I mean, they've always kind of done that anyway, leading from, which I really can't wait until you get to those parts, and everything, from, the transition from A Realm Reborn to Heaven's Horde to Stormblood, Stormblood to Shadowbringers, those are, very good, intense climax areas of the stories, and everything, so I'm excited for you to actually, get to those parts. Instead of the shitty intro part you're in for A Realm Reborn.
Yeah. Just gotta get through the beginning.
Much hate for A Realm Reborn. Justified.
It was the funny part is that I liked The Realm Reborn because obviously I played through all of it, and I wasn't very, complainy about it. Or anything, but it's one of those, thinking back on it, yeah, it was not very good. Compared to what we have now.
I mean, so far with going through A Realm Reborn stuff, I've enjoyed, I guess this is just base Final Fantasy, I've enjoyed the jobs, I've enjoyed those quests, because they're unique quests, and, they're cool. But the quest of, hey, go talk to this person, or hey, you're looking for the main bad guy, but why don't you talk to these merchants and see if they have any information going about it. It's just okay. Oh, hey, go see about making some firewater. Okay, where's the big shit? Aren't we supposed to be hunting prime? Yeah, we're hunting primals, but we need to go see what this hooded man's doing. Okay.
I think that was the issue with The Realm Reborn. They don't make you stop doing the, fetch quests here and there, or, go talk to a person here and there quest, but at least going forward in the game, it still keeps some sort of relevance to it. It's not just oh, talk to this random obscure
it actually
person
means something.
and then go get some cheese,
Yeah. You're actually doing something significant.
Yeah, so that's one good thing, because it's
come to Belgium with me or not?
I will, let me just finish my 2 crafty things and then turn it in real quick.
There.
Grooming kits?
Be the bunny.
Grooming kits.
Okay. So this is probably going to be like a part 1, part 2 for this. So I'm going to take a little break, and then when we come back, it will be part 2. So stay tuned, and we're going to cut to commercial.
Ah, shit.
Commercials.